Thanks for being with us on NBC 6 News. Dan Jovic with you in studio. We are cutting into programming today to bring you an update from Louisiana State Police, the lead investigative agency in the officer-involved shooting death of Alonzo Bagley. Louisiana State Police say the 43-year-old was shot late Friday night. Let's listen in to what Louisiana State Police have to say.
Region 3, Bureau of Investigations, Commander, Major Treon Lavadane, who is my command inspector of my Criminal Investigative Division, and to the end of my left is Lieutenant Colonel Chavez Cameron, my Assistant Superintendent and Chief of Staff. Before I begin, I really want to take this time to offer my prayers and condolences to the Bagley family and the entire Shreveport community. These incidents are never easy, they're tragic, and quite frankly, they break your heart when they occur. And while we may not be directly involved in the incident, it is something that we take seriously. It's something that affects all of us and quite frankly hits you in the heart. So it's important for me to be here today to speak with you and as well as our public safety partners so that we can ensure that everybody understands that we're going to conduct this investigation as accurately and as thoroughly as possible. Okay? We're in the process of conducting this investigation. We're gathering the facts as we stand right now. And while we do not have all of the information, I did want to take and provide some information to the community and give you all an update. So please bear with us as I'm only able to discuss the facts of the case as it is today, as this investigation is ongoing. On Friday, February 3rd, the Shreveport Police Department requested LSP, Bureau of Investigations, Criminal Investigations Division conduct an officer-involved shooting that occurred in the city of Shreveport. The preliminary investigation revealed that at approximately 10:51 p.m. on February 3rd, 2023, two Shreveport police officers responded to the Villa Norte apartment complex located in the 1600 block of Fullerton Street in reference to a domestic disturbance call. Upon their arrival, officers encountered 43-year-old Mr. Alonzo Bagley inside the apartment. Mr. Bagley accessed the balcony from the rear bedroom door and jumped to the ground. He then fled from officers. SPD officer Alexander Tyler was chasing Mr. Bagley on foot, and Officer Tyler located Mr. Bagley a short time later. Upon rounding a corner of the building, Officer Tyler observed Mr. Bagley and fired one shot from his service weapon, which struck Mr. Bagley in the chest. Both officers immediately began to render first aid. Mr. Bagley was transported to Ochsner LSU Health in Shreveport for treatment, but was later pronounced deceased. The incident scene was processed by the Louisiana State Police crime scene technicians, and evidence analysis remained ongoing. Detectives did not locate any weapons near or on the person of Mr. Bagley. Louisiana State Police detectives are still gathering evidence and interviewing those involved in the incident. I'm asking for the community to remain patient as we continue to conduct a very thorough investigation. While some may think that this is something that we can come and arrive to a conclusion immediately, I offer that it's incumbent upon us to conduct a very thorough investigation so that we have all the facts. Transparency in the investigation is a priority for our agency, and as we move forward in the investigation, we will work to review all of the evidence, determine further information to be released, including the body-worn camera and the in-car camera videos. As I conclude, I ask that anyone with information regarding this incident, please contact our agency, and I'm going to give you a couple of numbers and ways that you can communicate with us. First, call in our Fusion Center hotline, which is 1-800-434-8007, 1-800-434-8007. Second way is calling our LSP detectives, 318-741-2728. Again, 318-741-2728. Visiting our lsp.org and completing our suspicious activity report, or our criminal activity reporting form, and utilizing the See Something, Send Something app. Lastly, I want to again ask for your patience and understanding as we continue to gather the facts in relation to this investigation. I also ask that you keep Mr. Bagley's family and his friends in your prayers, as well as the entire Shreveport community. I will now take any questions you may have.
Any timeline on when that video and that dash video might be released? Because I know in cases like this, it usually makes the community feel a little more at ease to just see and if that transparency be put forth as soon as possible.
Well, ma'am, we are working in conjunction with other agencies to conduct this investigation, and quite frankly, it's important to us that we gather as much information and evidence and facts as possible before releasing it. So we do not have a hard date, but I will tell you, as soon as we can release it, we will release it.
Have you been able to identify any witnesses that were there at the scene and saw what happened, including Mr. Bagley's 15-year-old daughter?
So at this particular time, we're still trying to gather that information. So I can't say that I have that information, particularly because we are still speaking with witnesses. We hadn't conducted all of the interviews, and as such, we can't say who saw what.
Have you determined why the officer discharged this weapon when there was no weapon found, I would assume, on the person of Mr. Bagley or in the vicinity?
So the question was, can we determine whether or not why the officer discharged this weapon, seeing as though there was no weapon found in the vicinity of Mr. Bagley? And to answer that, we still have to finish and conclude this investigation. I think it's premature for us to make that assumption without us conducting all of the interviews and reviewing all of the evidence.
Those are questions that are being asked right now in the community as you ask for patience in the community.
And I understand.
They would like to know why that happened. They feel that this might not have been the proper dischargeable weapon to bring Mr. Bagley's death about.
Yes, sir, and I understand the community's pain. And quite frankly, as I said before, we all feel this whenever this tragedy strikes in our communities. We're all a part of the community, and while I understand the community's concern, I want them to know that we're going to conduct a very thorough investigation. We're not going to do anything less than develop the facts so that when we present this case to the district attorney's office, it's a case that the district attorney can move forward.
Now, I know that you guys said you won't be releasing the video, but I know you possibly viewed it, and you could maybe tell us if there was any immediate threat in the moment of that domestic violence situation that may have led that officer to respond in the way he did, or is that still in preliminary phases as well?
So great question, in identifying any preliminary threat. However, again, in order for us to come to some type of conclusion in identifying preliminary threat, we have to, again, conduct interviews. We have to make sure we interview all of the witnesses, and right now we have not been able to do that.
Have you been able to interview Officer Tyler yet?
Excuse me?
Have you been able to interview Officer Tyler?
No, sir. At this point, we have not interviewed Officer Tyler just yet.
What's the soonest you think you'll be able to release some information, more information about this, or finish your investigation to the satisfaction of your investigators and those of SPD?
Well, in all of our cases, we follow the facts. So when we're talking about releasing the evidence or releasing additional information, oftentimes that is dependent upon what information we receive, what facts we discover, and so forth. So we will try to release information that we think is pertinent to the community, that we think is pertinent to the case, but it's based upon the facts and information we receive. So I can't offer a specific time frame, but I can tell you that as we continue to investigate this, if there is a point where we can offer something that's substantial to the community, we will do so. Yes, ma'am.
Will the family be able to see that video on the screen?
The question was, will the family be able to see the video upon release? Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So one more question and I'll close.
Is there any truth that the victim was intoxicated at the time and acting erratically?
So in determining the victim's level of intoxication, if any, that is not something that I can determine. That's going to have to be processed by whether it be the coroner's office or those that look into those particular matters. And of course, we will retrieve any and all evidence and information that's being provided, but at this particular time, I do not have the information on that. So again, I thank you all for coming out. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for really helping us to get the message out. But again, I ask that you all keep Mr. Bagley's family and friends and everybody impacted by this tragic incident in your prayers, okay? Thank you.
We'll be releasing an updated press release right after this also.
Well, there you heard it. Colonel Lamar A. Davis from Louisiana State Police offering some insight into the investigation that state police are conducting into the death of 43-year-old Alonzo Bagley, who was shot on Friday night. Bagley was involved in an officer shooting where patrolman Alexander Tyler shot and killed Bagley. One shot to the chest, according to Colonel Lamar Davis there. Tyler, the officer, has been placed on administrative leave while this investigation is ongoing. Colonel Davis there answering many of the questions that were being asked of the local media with the same response here, that this is an ongoing investigation and interviews have yet to be finished. Of note, they said that they have not been able to interview Officer Tyler yet, but he did say that he understands the community's pain and he understands why answers are wanted. Shooting happened at 10:51 on Friday night. It appears that Shreveport police were responding to a domestic incident there, and Mr. Bagley jumped off of a balcony, and then a chase began between Officer Tyler and Mr. Bagley, and that's when the fatal shot was fired. This is an ongoing investigation, according to Colonel Davis here, and interviews still have to be conducted. The body cam footage from all of it will not be released to the public until this investigation is in fact closed and then presented to the district attorney's office.